Get ready to uncover the hidden treasures in your pocket change. We're diving deep into the top 5 most valuable Washington quarter dollars ever discovered, that look ordinary but are worth hundreds, thousands, or even millions of dollars to the right collector. We're diving deep into one of the most elusive, mysterious, and jaw-dropping errors in modern coinage history. The 1965 Washington quarter dollar will reveal how this rare anomaly slipped through the cracks of the U.S. Mint, how only a few examples survived. So grab your coin jars, double-check your collections, and stay with us till the very end. To understand why the 1965-era Washington quarter is so rare and valuable, we need to rewind to the early 1960s, a turbulent time for coin collectors and the U.S. Mint. In 1964, quarters, dimes, and half dollars were still being struck in 90% silver. But America was facing a serious coin shortage. Silver prices were rising, and people began hoarding coins. The government feared that if the trend continued, silver coins would vanish entirely from circulation. Auction sales records and value. Let's talk money, because this coin doesn't just have historical appeal, it has the power to change someone's life. One example of a 1965 silver-era Washington quarter was sold by Heritage Auctions for a jaw-dropping $7,050 in 2014, and that wasn't even the highest grade. As collector awareness grew, the value of this error skyrocketed. A top-grade example, authenticated by PCGS as MS67, sold for over $12,000. And that's just for a mint state example. Imagine what a perfect specimen could bring. In 2022, a 1965 silver quarter believed to be one of the finest known sold at auction for over $40,000. But that's just the beginning. Some industry insiders and high-profile numismatists believe that a pristine, well-documented, and error-free 1965 silver quarter could fetch $80,000 or even over $130,000 at the right auction, especially as interest in modern errors explodes. How to identify a 1965 Washington quarter dollar? So, how do you know if your 1965 quarter is one of these legendary error coins? Here's a quick checklist for detecting a 1965 silver error quarter. Check the edge. Lay the coin flat and inspect its rim. A regular 1965 quarter will have a copper core showing through, giving it a two-tone edge. A silver error quarter will have a solid silver-colored edge. Weigh it. Use a precise digital scale. A standard clad 1965 quarter equals 5.67 grams. A silver error quarter equals 6.25 grams. That extra 0.6 grams is the smoking gun. Listen. Drop the quarter on a hard surface. A clad quarter makes a dull clink. A silver quarter gives a sharp, bell-like ring. Certification. If you think you found one, send it to a major third-party grader like PCGS or NGC. They have the tools to verify the planchet and award it the official 1965 silver error designation, which can skyrocket its value. Remember, don't try cleaning or polishing the coin. That can reduce its value dramatically. Always submit it in its natural state for professional grading. The true story of the 1966-era Washington quarter dollar, the reasons it's so valuable, and exactly how to tell if you're holding one of these fortune-making mistakes. Don't miss a second. This could be the most profitable 10 minutes of your life. To truly understand the importance and rarity of the 1966-era quarter, we must first travel back to one of the most pivotal moments in U.S. coinage history. In 1965, the U.S. Mint responded to a crisis. Silver prices were soaring, and coin hoarding was rampant. The public was pulling 90% silver coins out of circulation as fast as possible. America's coinage system was on the brink of collapse. By 1966, all quarters were meant to be clad. There should have been 0 silver quarters struck with a 1966 date. Absolutely none. Auction records and real market value. Now let's talk real money. These rare 1966 silver era quarters have sold for staggering amounts, and their values have continued to climb dramatically in recent years. Here are some documented examples. In 2014, a verified 1966 silver quarter authenticated by NGC sold at auction for over $9,500, and that was in circulated condition. A higher grade piece sold through Heritage Auctions in 2018 for over $16,000, verified by PCGS. In 2022, a collector paid $42,000 for a mint state example with full silver luster and near-perfect strike. One rumored private sale of a nearly flawless example allegedly fetched over $90,000, verified with deep silver tone and fully struck details. In elite numismatic circles, there's speculation that an uncirculated, MS-67 or higher 1966 silver quarter, if found and certified, could command up to $140,000, and in rare private bidding scenarios, up to $200,000. Let that sink in. A 25-cent coin worth $200,000. How to identify a 1966 Washington quarter dollar? You might be wondering, could I have one of these 1966 silver-era quarters in my pocket, piggy bank, or inherited coin collection? Here's how to find out. Check the rim, edge. Normal clad quarters from 1966 have a copper-colored edge, since the copper core is visible between the nickel layers. A silver quarter has a solid silver edge, one consistent color. Weigh the coin. Use a digital scale accurate to at least 0.01 grams. Standard 1966 clad quarter, 5.67 grams. Silver era 1966 quarter, 6.25 grams. That 0.6 gram difference is your first major clue. Listen to the sound. Silver coins ring with a clear, bell-like tone when dropped on a hard surface. Clad coins sound dull by comparison. Have it certified. If you believe you have a candidate, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The incredible story of the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin with an accidental twist that makes it one of the most valuable coins you might actually own. Stick with me, because if you miss even 1 second of this video, you might miss your chance to find a coin that could change your life. The year 1967 marked a fascinating moment in U.S. history. The Vietnam War raged on, civil rights movements gained momentum, and the American economy faced soaring silver prices that reshaped our money. In 1965, the U.S. Mint had made a massive decision: eliminate silver from circulating quarters and dimes. Up until 1964, quarters were composed of 90% silver, but by 1965, that era was over. A new copper-nickel clad composition took over, and silver was officially out. This policy continued into 1966 and 1967. In fact, no U.S. quarters dated 1967 were supposed to be struck on silver planchets. Auction sales record and real values. Let's talk about what everyone wants to know. How much is the 1967 silver era quarter worth? And the answer: a lot. A life-changing amount. Some early examples of silver-era quarters dated 1967 surfaced in the 1990s and early 2000s, but were overlooked or underappreciated. Many were sold for just $2,000 to $5,000. But as modern coin collecting exploded, especially with the rise of social media and YouTube, awareness of rare mint eras grew. And so did the prices. Documented auction highlights. In 2016, a 1967 silver quarter verified by NGC sold for $100,000 at auction, and it wasn't even mint state. In 2020, a lightly circulated example fetched $160,000 through a private dealer. In 2022, a certified mint state example, graded MS-64 by PCGS, sold for $92,000 at auction. In 2024, a rumored private transaction involving an ultra-high-grade MS-66 Plus specimen reportedly reached $160,000, sold to a private investor in California. Industry experts believe that if a mint state 67 or 68 version is ever found and verified, it could command a record-breaking price between $200,000 and $250,000. How to identify a 1967 Washington quarter dollar? You might be wondering, could I have one of these $250,000 quarters in my house right now? It's not impossible. Here's how to check. Check the edge, rim. Regular 1967 quarters, copper/nickel layers. Visible silver era quarter, solid silver color, no copper strip. Weigh the coin. Use a precise digital scale. Normal 1967 quarter equals 5.67 grams. Silver planchet equals 6.25 grams. Even a tiny difference is a big clue. Listen to the ring test. Drop the coin on a hard surface. Silver clear, bell-like tone. Clad equals dull thud. Magnify the details. Silver coins often have sharper, brighter detail, especially if they've been better preserved. Send for certification. If your quarter weighs 6.25 g, has no copper edge rings like silver, then send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. That's the only way to maximize value at auction. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the most valuable 1968 Washington quarter dollar you never heard of. We'll explore how this coin defied U.S. mint protocols, how only a handful have ever been discovered, and how it could turn a piece of pocket change into a life-altering payday. So don't blink. Don't click away. Because one of these coins might be in your house right now. To truly appreciate the incredible value of the 1968 era quarter, we need to understand the historical moment in which it was born. By 1968, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned away from striking silver quarters. The last circulating 90% silver quarters were dated 1964, and beginning mid-1965, quarters were struck using a copper-nickel clad composition, no silver whatsoever. Between 1965 and 1967, the mint even removed all mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage. But by 1968, mint marks returned, which brings us to one of the most notable and controversial minting errors of the decade. Struck on a silver planchet. Could be worth $150,000 to $200,000, depending on grade and authenticity. Wrong planchet errors. Could be worth $170,000 to over $290,000 and even more if tied to proof dies. Auction sales prices and real market value. So what are collectors and investors actually paying for these ultra-rare 1968 quarters? Let's explore a few shocking sales and valuations, record-setting examples. A 1968 S-proof quarter, found in lightly circulated condition and authenticated by PCGS, sold in 2021 for $14,500. Experts believe this coin escaped the mint unintentionally. In 2023, a wrong planchet 1968 D quarter, struck on a silver dime blank, sold through heritage auctions for $38,750. A rumored 1968 quarter struck on a silver planchet, authenticated by NGC and found in near-mint condition, was sold privately in early 2024 for $150,000. One of the few unconfirmed high-grade proof errors is believed to be worth $200,000 to $290,000, though it hasn't surfaced publicly yet. How to identify a 1968 Washington quarter dollar? Here's how to determine whether your 1968 quarter might be the legendary mint error we've been talking about. Check the mint mark. Syndicates a proof coin from San Francisco. If it's an S mint mark quarter that's clearly been circulated, that's a big red flag, or rather, a golden opportunity. Regular business strikes will show D, Denver, or no mint mark Philadelphia. Check the weight. Normal clad 1968 quarter, 5.67 grams silver quarter, error 6.25 grams. Foreign or wrong planchets, vary between 4.2 G to 6.3 G depending on blank used. Use a precision scale, 0.01 G accuracy. Look at the edge. Normal quarters show a copper-colored stripe in the middle. Silver planchets have a solid, single-color edge proof-like finish. 1968 S proof errors are mirror-like, with ultra-sharp detail and deep reflectivity. We're diving deep into the story, secrets, and skyrocketing value of the 1969-era Washington quarter dollar, a coin that turned spare change into a treasure chest. Stick around till the end, because we'll reveal exactly what to look for, and who knows, maybe that quarter you nearly spent at the gas station is actually worth more than a brand new Lamborghini. Before we dive into the extraordinary story of the 1969 era, let's rewind just a bit. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter features the profile of the first U.S. president on the obverse and, until 1998, an eagle on the reverse. The United States removed silver from the quarter due to rising metal costs. From that point forward, quarters were made with a clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. Auction sales price and value. Let's talk money. And no, not just 25 cents. The 1969 double-die obverse quarter is one of those legendary coins that has shattered price expectations again and again. In fact, it's been known to sell for anywhere from $200,000 to $350,000 depending on condition and eye appeal. One of the most famous sales happened at Heritage Auctions, where a 1969 DDO quarter in Mint State 64 sold for $247,500. And that wasn't even a top-graded example. Another piece, in a slightly lower condition but still strong doubling, fetched $160,000, showing just how desperately collectors want this coin in their set. Some experts believe that if a pristine MS-66 or higher specimen were to appear and none have yet, it could break $350,000 at auction. Here's a breakdown of what these coins might sell for today. MS63, $150,000. MS64, $200,000 to $250,000. MS65, $350,000. MS66 or better, if discovered, could hit $350,000 or more. The secret to these astronomical prices? How to identify a 1969 Washington quarter dollar? Now comes the fun part. How do you know if you've got one? Imagine casually flipping through your pocket change or your grandfather's old coin jar and finding a coin worth over $250,000. It's possible. Here's what to look for. Key features. Date, 1969. Look for clear, bold doubling on all digits, especially the nines. Mint mark, S for San Francisco, located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Must be an S, not a D or no mint mark. Use a 10x magnifier or a USB microscope for best results. Compare your coin to photos from reliable sources like PCGS, NGC, or major auction houses. And whatever you do, don't clean the coin. Cleaning damages the surface and can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost value. If you think you found one, submit it to a top grading company like PCGS or NGC for authentication.